Okay, thank you very much for the various interests and comments on the series on report writing. Seeing that there are a lot of interest, particularly around the one pager templates. In the last post on LinkedIn, I talked about executive summary, and I did say that it's a way to provide key highlights from what has happened in a report without necessarily going into too much details. And at the same time, you don't want to omit crucial facts. Why you don't also want to belabor the readers with too many information. So therefore, this is just a simple template. Prepare a one pager to share your information with whoever your audience is. So there are two segments into this report. Some other templates can have a three segments. So you have this side, which is like the heading, it's 5 elements, then the narrative section, and then you can have some charts on the far right, so depending on what you want. I have not included charts in this because just a rough, simple, depending on whatever you want to use it for. And I'm going to be sending these out together with this video. It's editable, so you can ungroup and modify the images and put images that suit whatever environment or kind of report you are preparing. So for instance, if you're talking about from a strategic point of view, maybe a report on a business plan or a feasibility study, an investment, be looking at some of these kind of levers, market, as an overview of the environment where you want to play, what is happening in that space. For instance, an organization is moving into a new market totally, either a new geographical market or product market, depending on whatever it is. There is a need for them to have an understanding of what that market is all about. Don't assume that, yes, they commissioned this project management center, so they already have an idea. It's always good to provide 2-3 short lines, and then there are relevant charts that gives you information. For instance, if you're talking about a geographical market, you want to talk about statistics, talk about some other macroeconomic indices like unemployment rate, inflation, exchange rate, those kind of things. Just come in a small chart, but visible. It shouldn't be too overloaded. Key facts. Next, you want to talk about drivers and challenges in that market. So this is like a SWOT analysis. So you decide to change this. Started referring drivers and challenges and say analysis, and then you have a SWOT analysis. You can have a SWOT analysis diagram here, choose 4 dimensions, and then you just only highlight the critical ones in text. Okay. On the other side, you could also say, as a business that you are preparing this report for, maybe you are the head of strategy, you are the one leading the feasibility study team, whatever it is, don't forget, we're dealing with report writing, and we're not necessarily industry specific. We're just saying these are general things that are relevant for all of us as professionals. Over the time, I have focused on speaking to internal auditors and risk management practitioners. We also communicate. Communication is a daily affair. Okay, so what has happened, what is happening, we need to highlight that. There are other information that you can share graphically or in figures. It can be on the right side here. Then the competitive landscape. What does the environment look like? Are you trying to show that, okay, this new market we're going into is really worth it? If it's not worth it, what do we need to be thinking about? How many years more do you think that market will remain very viable for us for this investment? Does it make sense considering, the level of maturity of the market and the saturation? Is there an opportunity to differentiate, to create a niche differently? And then what do you think the organization should be doing? What are your recommendations? What are you asking for? At the end of the day, if you finish a report and then you don't have this, it's almost like a waste. There must be something that's an outcome, that's a next step. Now, on the other side, if it's a project, it's an audit, for instance, you're going to have to change all of this side to be saying, globally, this is what we have seen, the drivers and the challenges. What are the things, what do we typically call exceptions, but we just call it findings. Now, what did you see? What are the things that you have seen? What has been done? So it's in quite a number of audit reports, you find this called maybe management action or management response. What they have done, they tell you. And then here we're talking about, okay, what is the impact, the root cause and the impact of what has happened here vis-a-vis what has been done. so that we can begin to have an idea of the residual risks that is living in that part of the business. And then ultimately, we are giving recommendations for improvement or resolution of challenges that has been found. So this is a simple template. It's a one pager. It makes you to summarize. It doesn't matter how many. So for instance, if it's an audit, you're not just reporting on that entity. So in this place, you should be able to provide us an insight over the control environment of the entity. And say, okay, based on this report, we think the financial control unit or the compliance team, whatever it is green, is a red, is a amber. So you could also decide to use color codes to just communicate what you have found, depending on the kind of environment you are reporting on. And so I believe that this will be helpful for us. It will also assist us to create. Now, I'm not saying that your one pager must look exactly like this, just to tell you that it is doable and it is possible. A number of people have asked, is it possible? Well, how can you do it? Just to tell you that it is possible. I can summarize regardless of the number of pages of the report. And like I said, it has to be owned. This exercise has to be owned by whoever is leading. And remember, it's a collaborative effort. Get your team members to look at it over and over. Let them challenge it so that you are bringing out the real critical elements. Otherwise, you will be bringing out things that are not the critical things. I hope you find this useful. I will also try to work on a Word format. But in addition to what I have done, this is just me creating things. I like creating because you are the one that will know what you want to communicate. There are loads of templates also all over the internet that you can also use depending on your specific industry. You have the time to create something that speaks to your specific needs. There are loads of templates. If you're in the project management space, there are project status reports that are one pagers. If you are in the health sector, quality and safety environment reports, there are one pager reports. If you are an ISO auditor, there are one pager report, depending on whichever industry or whatever sector or that you operate in. There are several templates that you can find in different websites, and I encourage you to please do. As long as they are free and you can use them, there is no plagiarism issues, please go ahead. This is also a free prepared. You can use it. I created this from scratch. So it might not be perfect in terms of finance, but at least it gives you an idea of what you need to do. But you have other areas where we can all leverage, please to share. Thank you very much and do enjoy your day.